year since the riots of last summer, anti-immigration protests have sprung up in Leeds, Nottinghamshire, Southampton, Norwich and now London, where hundreds of anti-immigration protesters have gathered to demand that a local hotel stop housing asylum seekers. Coming to meet them have been hundreds of anti-fascist demonstrators, chanting Nazi scum off our streets. So far, things have been relatively calm, barring a brief scuffle between demonstrators and counter-demonstrators that ended with a couple of people being dragged away by the police. The protesters claim they're locals with legitimate concerns. Counter-protesters say they're far-right agitators misled by a media using false data to inflame tensions. I've come to find out what's going on. So tell me a bit about why you're here today. Are you just passing by or are you part of the protest?
I don't actually live around here. I live up the road. And I thought I'd just come down and have a look and see what's going on and make my own judgment of what's going on between the two factions.
And what is your assessment, or have you not made it yet?
I have made one. There does seem to be an element of far right knocking around.
Are you worried at all by the presence of the far right here?
Well, far right are always a concern because it always brings down, people's who have got just concerns about what's going on in their borough, and they join in. It makes it worse for the actual people who are just genuine. It always does.
Nothing's going to change, is it? No matter how much we protest, nothing's going to change.
Well, we need revolution.
Yeah, well, we're not doing it like this, are we?
It will come.
When?
Well, we're at
When?
Southport. That was
It's
good.
all-
Southport was
it's all
very
talk,
good.
it's all talk.
Southport was very good.
So do you think that was a good action, what happened there?
They should have done more. Frankly, they should have done more. They should have dragged them out. Enoch Powell was right. They are demographically replacing us. They are doing a genocide.
Yeah, but
What they are doing is genocide.
Yeah, but that changes on
And
racism.
someday it'll be like Rwanda.
You've got to let people in the country who contribute and also who want to integrate. A lot of people that come over here don't want to integrate. They go in their own
It
communities.
doesn't matter if they integrate or not. We are full. It doesn't matter if you have 2 billion coming over and
Well, if they're
integrating.
here and they don't
The
integrate,
bottom line
it
is
makes a barren
we don't want to be
society.
demographically
Yeah,
replaced.
but it makes a barren society, doesn't it?
It doesn't matter.
None
If they
of
all,
the-
it doesn't matter if we have 2 million coming over and they're all eating tea and crumpets. They won't be British.
I know.
Just because they pretend to drink tea and eat crumpets doesn't
But
make them
those
British.
days are over, aren't they?
They're not over.
Well, go on, then get them out then.
Well, we're going to.
Who's we?
Well, do you know what happened? Ethnic enclaves are formed. Ethnic enclaves are formed. That's the way it's going to go. People are going to have to go. I'm not going to hang around them.
What are you going to do then?
Well, I'm going to live in a different area.
And do you think that'll solve the problem? Will that solve the
I don't want to get stabbed.
If you want to solve the problem, you've got to stop the boats
You're
at
never going to
source.
solve the problem by letting them in as long as they are integrating. That's never going to solve the problem.
We should have stopped the boats halfway across the channel. Tow them back.
Torpedo the boat. Torpedo one boat and they'll never come again.
We'll end this
That's what I say.
intelligent conversation.
Lefty scum off our streets! Lefty scum off our streets! Lefty scum off our streets!
I've just come to stand up for our country. I mean, bit by bit, it's getting destroyed, and if we don't stand up, it's going to get eroded around us, And I mean, we got people getting put up in hotels. I mean, I see veterans every day sleeping rough. I see people struggling. Obviously, because of my business, I interact with a lot of client base, and everyone's struggling. But our government doesn't care. So unless we stand up, our government's just going to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. So we need to be noticed. I'm all right with immigration. I've supported immigration. I've wrote character reference for immigrants coming over here to get their green cards or to get them their citizenship. And I just think the way it's going, we're just bringing all in sundry in that they're getting paid all. Like basically, I've paid 12 grand in the last quarter in VAT and corporation tax, and I don't feel better off. I don't see it going anywhere decent. I don't see it going into my community. I don't see it going to our future generations. I just see it going to the will of the government, and the will of the government is not the will of the people.
My son's 31, he still lives with me. He can't get a flat, so why should they get houses?
Do you feel like part of this crisis of people being put up in hotels, can't find somewhere to live, ultimately this is not just a migration crisis potentially, but a housing crisis?
Yeah, there's plenty of houses going up around here, but no one can afford them. There's no council flats going up, so where are they going to put them? Renting them out? No.
But do you think some of this problem could be solved by the government just building more houses, which it pledged to do, but it just never does?
The government should build for the people that are born here. And then after that's finished, then let them have some. Not because no one, all I know is all my friends and all their kids, they're all living in 2 bedrooms and sharing rooms because they can't get a bigger place. So I don't see why that lot should be in that hotel anyways, getting it all free. I work my arse off for a living and I don't want to keep them here. Simple as that.
Whether you like to admit it or not, if you're left-leaning or whatever, there is a problem here. And until we get this sorted, there is going to be... It will end up with a civil war. Let me tell you that. Not now, 5, 10 years down the road. This is civil war.
And there's going to be a civil war. There will be a civil war. And when that war starts, you'll be going, oh no, I remember interviewing that lady. My dad said it years ago when I was a teenager. You watch this country, there will be a civil war. And it is happening slowly.
Right. I mean, actually, these protests this year, these migration protests, have been more calm than last year. So if anything, we're seeing a de-escalation.
Well, I think it's them lot that cause the trouble. The left wing, as you call them, are causing the trouble. This would have been a quiet community protest, but them lot arrived.
So we've heard from some of the demonstrators here today, homeless people don't get put up in hostels or, veterans don't get put up in hostels. What would you say to them? Why is it that they're concerned about homeless people and veterans not getting the same treatment as asylum seekers?
We simply don't have the funding that's gone into social housing that we had throughout the 50s after the war. That all changed with Thatcher, with the selling of council houses, and so there is really not enough social housing to create an integration for asylum seekers to be able to feel part of the community, because that's all they want. They're human beings like you and me. This is a last-ditch attempt for asylum seekers to live a life.
These people in the hotel, people in Gaza, poor people, homeless people, and actually veterans fighting wars, and dying over things that they probably don't even believe in. But we all have to learn how to live together, and this is why we're here. And allowing, the right-wing press and the government to divide us is just undermining everything that is good about humanity. And you have to fight back, stand up, fight back.
Do you feel like, if some of the conditions like housing, various other forms of kind of the disintegration of our social fabric were addressed, we wouldn't see demos like this? Or do you think these people are just kind of hardline racists who will come whether or not their material conditions are bad?
I think it's probably a mix of both. I think the organisers will kick up a fuss and rile people up over scapegoating people, whatever happens. But there are certainly people being pulled in for far-right rhetoric, and we're here to counter that.
Yeah. And why do you think they're being so susceptible to that rhetoric?
I mean, Britain is underfunded, our local councils are struggling. It's really hard to be here, but, if we had a more daring government who would be willing to, tax the rich properly, do a wealth tax and get on with helping us and them. We're not us and them, we're all together. We can all live in a fair society, it's not that deep.
I don't blame the migrants. Yeah, there's good and bad migrants. There's good and bad in every society. I don't blame them, it's the governments I blame.
And what do you think are the issues in our society besides migration?
In the country right now?
Yeah, people like you.
The fact that I run my own business. COVID put paid to that. I'm desperately trying to rebuild it. I'm struggling. We're in an economic crisis. I just, to me, the way I look at it, Starmer is a puppet. They're all puppets. This is a WEF agenda, 2030 agenda, 2050 agenda. Go read it. Klaus Schwab, you will be happy. You will own nothing and you will be happy. Not in my lifetime. I mean, I was taught when I was a kid, go and work damn hard, get a mortgage, get money in property, you'll be fine. That got taken away from me in COVID. I couldn't pay my mortgage. I'm 65.
Wow.
I've got 5 years to pay the remainder of my mortgage off. There's no way I'm going to be able to do that. I'm going to have to move again, downsize again. But this is all politics. Just follow the money, follow the greenback. Go look at BlackRock. Yeah. Look at all those guys.
So when you talk about how, work should pay, but in your case it hasn't, how would you feel about the idea of, for example, a wealth tax? People who aren't working for their money, who are just sitting on piles of money that they've inherited from their Etonian parents. Would you feel comfortable with the idea that they should pay their way a little more as well?
Possibly. I mean, I would have liked to have been born with a silver spoon in my mouth, but I wasn't. But by the same rule, the way I look at it is that if you come here, you work, you assimilate, you pay your taxes, you contribute to society, you don't expect us to change our culture to yours, then everything should be happy.
Shouldn't those people, whilst they're applying for asylum, be allowed to work rather than having to rely on either illegal work or, handouts from the government?
They should be put to work by the government, which pays for their keep and their accommodation. Okay. That's it. Yeah. No more. If you want to class it old school, chain gang stuff, whatever, make them work for it. Don't let them stand outside this hotel that they do, drinking alcohol, which apparently is against some of their religions. I don't know all their religions. Come into our parks, harass our children, rape our children, because they find that culturally acceptable. We don't. So if you're going to have them here, and we've got unvetted people, then you make sure you put them to work to pay for that accommodation, because that's coming out of my money, your money, and everybody else's money. We're paying our taxes for that. That's wrong.
UKIP still going? Yeah, it's still going. I've been exasperated a few times with UKIP, but I'm sticking with it. We've got Nick Tankone now, a fantastic leader, so he's going to take us places again, hopefully.
Who are you?
That's funny. You know who I am. I'm Nick Tankone, leader of UKIP.
I'm so sorry.
UKIP's policy is clear. Once in power, we are closing the borders and we will begin mass deportations of those who do not deserve to be here. Anyone who arrived on a dinghy would come under that bracket. The media is silent. The left don't care because obviously the communists are in the unholy alliance with the Islamists. So the Patriots have had enough. It's time, and I really want you guys to get this. This is very important. Look at that Communist Party flag. Sorry, my friend, can you stand to your left? All right. Look at that Communist Party flag. They're not hiding it. They're far left extremists. They're domestic terrorists. So we're sending them home.
Right, okay. And so, let's say a UKIP government gets in, you've closed the borders, all of Britain's problems wouldn't be solved at that point. I assume you agree. And so what would UKIP do next?
Far from it.
What domestic problems is UKIP going to solve and how?
I'm glad you asked that, and I invite you to read our 79-page manifesto.
So people here are complaining about the NHS. People here are complaining about housing. Are you going to build housing? Are you going to fund the NHS?
And in particular, not just our 79-page manifesto, but in particular our 6 missions. I encourage everyone in Novara media.
No, but just to tell our viewers now, would you fund the NHS? Given that you've closed the borders and 1 in 3 nurses is an immigrant, 1 in 6 doctors, NHS possibly going to collapse. I do all the time, mate. I do all the time. But so tell me what you would do to prevent our society collapsing once you close the borders.
I find really
No. Please just answer the question.
Do you know what I find? Do you know what? No.
I know I'm scrutinising him because he's a right-wing politician, so I have to.
Okay. Last question. Last response. Anyone who's ever used the NHS potentially has had a good experience. I'm one of those people. But there's also millions of experiences where it is utterly inept.
So what would the UKIP do to solve our problem?
How dare you interrupt me a 3rd, 4th, 5th time?
I'm asking you because you're just wanging on. I'm asking you to answer the question. How would UKIP solve this country's problems?
I've been polite and courteous, and you've interrupted me several times.
Because you've not answered the question. I'm really interested in hearing your view.
If I could have your attention for 1 more minute, I want you to look at the red flag with the yellow symbology and the writing. Ladies and gentlemen, police officers, journalists, look at that flag. That is the communist flag.
So things are petering out here in Islington. We've had a couple of people tell us today that Britain's headed for a civil war, but not today, it seems. We've spoken to demonstrators and to counter-demonstrators today, and what appears painfully obvious to me is that a lot of their analyses are fundamentally the same. This country is going to shit, our politicians can't be trusted to fix it, Cuts are happening left, right, and centre, and people's quality of life is just simply terrible. What's interesting, speaking to many of the anti-migration protesters, is that they don't consider themselves to be far right, and they certainly don't identify with terms like fascist or Nazi. But what's really troubling is that there are far-right actors, there are fascist actors embedded amongst them who are inflaming tensions. Speaking to some of the counter-demonstrators, it's interesting to hear that they don't have the same bad faith analysis of a lot of the protesters. Yes, a lot of them are calling them Nazis and fascists, but a lot of them are saying, look, these people have a lot of the same concerns as me and you, and I believe that a political project that addressed their concerns could actually convert them. I'm not sure what I think. I think a lot of them are hardened now, but what is completely clear is that there is actually a lot of common ground in the analysis between these two groups, but there are kind of, agitators and far-right parties that really want there to be a kind of conflict and are amping this up, hoping that it's going to kick off. Today, it hasn't.